damn it.
What?
I'm sad. Um, I'm vaguely following the NFL playoff game that's going on right now, which is mostly just I watch the score or the plays as they come in on the box score. But I went to look up because there was a missed field goal and it was recorded as like missed field goal, hit the left upright. And I was like, I wonder, if they just record like every upright they hit in like a missed field goal. So I went back to the infamous double doink kick by the Chicago Bears, and I was really hoping it was going to say like missed field goal, hit left upright, crossbar, right upright, crossbar, and then went out. Unfortunately, it just says the first upright that it hit. I was so hoping
Oh,
that it had said all of them though. That would have been amazing.
how that man must have felt when it did the double doink.
I mean, you could see it in his eyes and his coach's eyes as they both looked at it and went, he, Cody Parkey was like, I am going to get fired. Interesting. Right here, today. I'm going to be fired in 5 minutes. Although, weirdly, he's playing for somebody right now. Who is he playing for? I think he's actually playing for somebody like a good team, too. The Cleveland Browns. That's who it was.
Well, talk of football aside, let's talk about, you know, more nerdy shit like anime.
Yeah,
Welcome to the season 6, let's go with that, of
sure.
Anime Book Club episode. You'll see it
120?
here. I don't know what it is. I at some point started marking them down wrong, never fixed it. Found it out in post production and completely forgot what episode number it actually is. So let's just ignore that for now.
Brandon hasn't posted an episode in close to 2 months at the time of filming this,
Well,
so
no, I haven't. I posted the rest of that last month. They're all up there.
are they? All
Yeah,
of them?
except for the last episode, which I completely got that. I just completely fucking forgot about.
Okay.
I could have sworn that I did it last week, and then when I went to the YouTube page, I'm like, wait a minute, the last episode missing, and I just thought I did it. I think I dreamt about doing it, and then just took that at faith.
Uh-huh.
But anyways, this is the first episode of the winter season,
Yes.
wherein we watched a couple of shows. We watched Jakuchara, Doctor
Yeah.
Stone,
Mhm.
Wonder Egg Priority, and
Yep.
Skinfinity.
Yeah.
I'm also watching a couple of other shows on the side as well. Um, but since we're not going to continue with Wonder Egg Priority, let's talk about that first.
Okay.
Also because it's the most depressing of the
Holy
four
shit, it
shows.
is. Yeah. Um,
How
so
did you like
so
Wonder Egg
we
Priority?
agreed to the other three shows first, and then
Yeah.
yesterday, Brandon
Yesterday,
brought me Wonder Egg Priority. It's like a thing that he was interested in because he was like, "Oh, it's the recommended shows it's like associated with is Madoka Magica, and it's got the horror tag, so like
and it's got
clearly
like
it's
it's
gonna
pretty
have some
highly.
like."
Yeah. Clearly, there's something going on with it.
Mhm.
And it was really liked. So I was like, oh, might as well give it a try. The trailer looked, it looked really nice.
Right.
Um,
It,
so
as we were watching the trailer, I remarked like, "Oh yeah, it kind of reminds me of Boogie Pop because like it looks like it's gonna be more like kids in school and like like figuring stuff out between them." And there's only like a shot of some magical stuff right at the end as she was like summoning the magical staff thing. Was not what we fucking got. It was not what we got at all. I kind
um,
of wish this was Boogie Pop because it would be less intense and therefore less depressing.
yeah. So the premise of the show is that this girl helps other girls in her dream. The way she helps them
Yeah.
out is
Other
by
dead girls.
other. Hold on, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
I mean, it's
Um,
relevant. It's a relevant
yeah.
detail.
The way she helps them is that she gets this egg from this little gotcha game, and when she cracks in her dream, a girl who had committed suicide pops out, and she basically has to help her survive that night. At which point they just disappear at the end of the night.
Yeah.
And if she does this, she can bring back. At least she's told that she can bring back her dead friend,
Yes.
who had
Who also committed suicide.
who committed suicide prior to the events of this show.
Uh huh.
Right now, what we're seeing our main character I in the aftermath of her friend committing suicide, her basically only friend committing suicide. So she's very depressed. She no longer wants to go to school, and every once in a while she's being visited by her teacher to basically convince her to go back. And the emotional fallout of all of that, as well as figuring out what's going on with the dream world and the whole Wonder Egg. The Wonder Egg is where the suicidal girls pop out of.
Yeah.
It's really nicely animated. It looks really nice. I like the music. It's horribly depressing because all
it's
these
super
girls,
depressing.
like, not only do they commit suicide, but like oftentimes we delve into why they did, except for the first girl. For the first girl, we just kind of
the first
get
girl
that
we
she was
kind of
bullied.
glossed over it, but there's an implication there that is super fucking dark if you think
That
about it.
she was murdered.
Yeah, axe murdered.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and like it wasn't one of those things until we got to the second episode where we hear about like the girl's trauma is to do with her gymnastics coach, and then we see the gymnastics coach, and then she acts exactly the same way as how she traumatized the girl in life, and that was the form her trauma took. She changed
Yes.
forms, but like it acted the same way. So for the first girl, we had this axe murderer show up who whipped axes at us from a distance, which implies, based on the stuff we learned in the second episode, that that's IRL what happened to that first girl, and that's really fucking dark.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Possibly.
we also have like these little see no evils, which
Yeah,
are
these little
supposed to just
gremlins
represent like
things.
all of the regular people that just sort of watch that allow bullying to happen tacitly. They're all CGI or CG animated, but like given the fact that they're supposed to like move around all janky and like look weird and
Yeah.
be sort of spastic, like the CG animation sort of actually kind of works in their favor in that case.
Yeah, like the off-world or the offness of it definitely works. Also, given that a lot of this takes place in a dream,
Hmm.
so I think I've mentioned this before in other like ABC episodes, but I really like dreamscape style stuff, like in the Boogie Pop with the whole like world-ending scene. Remember that where the, like
Yeah.
Boogie Pop and the actual Boogie Pop girl, I think it was, were just
Right.
sitting there. I kind of like that, and I also like it here where basically like, when you open the door, you immediately walk into like basically completely other area. Just things look off. That there's like halls go into like completely different areas than you'd think. All of that I just really liked.
Everywhere the monsters go, like weird red splotches follow
Yeah,
them.
it's all just a little creepy, which is exactly what this show needs to do.
Does it need to do that? That's what it does. I don't know that it needs to do that.
If
The
it
show is
wants to be a good
creepy
show, like
enough
it
as
needs
it
to do
is.
that.
The show is
Wait,
creepy
yeah.
by its very premise. It doesn't need to do anything extra to be creepy. I was creeped out when we learned that that this was a show about suicidal girls, basically. From that moment on, I was like, I don't know that I'm enjoying this. I just sort of feel really bad right now.
I like it. It is not for everyone.
Yeah.
Like
When it said
it's
horror, I was hoping more like, jump scares and Pet Cemetery horror. We got like emotional torture instead.
we
It
got
was not
the
like
witch.
horror. Yeah, the Vivitch. Yeah,
Yeah, the Vivitch. We're like
I
we're
was hoping
delving
for
into
more Blair Witch Project, and we got the Vivitch.
yeah. We got like
Um,
the Vivitch scene where the kid is like coughing up the apple.
yeah. So I don't know fully that I would agree that it's horror. It's like I said, emotional torture is what I would describe it as. But I mean,
I mean that
it
could be
does it
horror.
well. I mean, it is like emotional horror. It's
Thriller?
more like it's not quite existential dread, but it's close
No.
to it.
What's
Um,
something similar to this? I'm not sure. I'm trying to think of like a movie that is similar to horror in like this way, where it's like heavily emotional. I would say you didn't watch it, shit, but like Hereditary. Um, Me and Alex watched it, and I feel like that kind of fits very well.
okay.
Because much of like the latter half, or much of the show act, or much of the movie, is about this family dealing with the death in the family, and like just how they start getting at each other and blaming each other for it, and like just it's just so dreadful because you're just watching this family tear each other apart when like they should be coming together and like making sure they get through this moment, and that's kind of a similar vibe to this.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely, it's gonna get a lot worse too. Like, there's a lot of implications that haven't been completely that will come to light. There's theories me and Nick have, which are probably gonna come true,
Hmm.
about what happened to the girl's friend, who committed suicide. We
Yeah.
know this shit for sure. She was being sexually harassed by some of her team, by some of her classmates.
Right.
But there's the larger implication that she probably was being raped by her teacher as well.
Yeah. Because there's the whole like,
Yeah.
oh, he's treating you nice, which is always the first the thing people say when what is actually happening behind the scenes is, you know,
That part I was like, okay,
so
maybe there's
dark.
still like I could see that ish. Maybe like she's a transfer student, blah blah blah. Like the thing that I says, I was like, okay, I can see that. What got me was the scene where I forget, I think it was in episode 2, where I's talking to her, and in the background, well, in the foreground you have the friend, and in the background you have like this dark figure, and then it
Uh-huh.
starts walking behind her, and then she just turns around the same motion. That's when I was like, oh, that's not good. That's the
Oh
teacher
yeah,
fucking doing bad things to her.
yeah. There was, yeah, I remember some scene like that where like it was like the figure was like guiding her away, guiding the friend
Yeah,
away. Yeah.
which
Um.
brings into like another piece that I liked about the show is that I feel like the direction is really good. There's like bits and pieces of scenes that I've never seen like another show do, or at least never noticed.
Mhm.
Like when she during the flashback where she's talking about her friend, she runs away because she's like very like introverted, shy. So she runs away, leaves her bag and her umbrella, and you get a uh, 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 oh god, what's the word for it? Not over voiceover of the main character and her mom talking, but what you see is like her trying to like her like basically breaking down under a bridge, um, which I really liked.
Oh yeah. Mhm. Because they're
And
talking
this,
about like, oh yeah, where's
yeah,
your stuff, and you can see it like sitting at the bottom of the stairs as the friend is sitting there, and eye is like breaking down under a bridge.
yeah, and it's slowly panning towards her. I
Hmm.
haven't seen like something else kind of do that. It seemed like it would be like I would see that in an anime movie, but not in an anime show. If that makes sense.
Right. I'm trying to think
Which
of if there's like something that does, because it's a very like artistic way of doing things rather than
yeah,
just like the straight way of doing it of like you just see the scene of the mom and the girl and the mom talking.
the reason it works better for me or why I liked it a lot was because we don't really need to see them talking. We know that they're talking through the voiceover.
Hmm.
So you're kind of saving on space there because you can see the breakdown as well as understand like how the mom is like figure how the mom is figuring out what's going on with her daughter in the voiceover. She doesn't know that she's breaking down and stuff. She just knows that she's acting a little weird about like her stuff missing.
Uh-huh.
But since we're not gonna continue watching it for
Yeah.
AZ, I will probably keep continuing watching it. Probably give Nick some
Occasional updates as
occasional
to.
updates and synopses,
Mhm.
and my slow descent into breaking down and getting destroyed by the show. I'd recommend it if you'd like something emotional and something dark, and hopefully
Yeah.
try to see
S-
the
Putting
end.
it in
Like there's
something emotional is not quite the recommendation I would give it. Something emotional is like something that draws on your like all of your emotions. This is purely a like you have to survive some very negative emotions kind of thing.
yeah. Uh, in this case, I'll be an optimist that there's a light at the end of this tunnel.
There is not.
Hopefully,
There is not.
we shall see. Overall,
Because the other side of our predictions, just I want to throw this out here and get it on record,
all right.
is I have a small prediction or somewhat of a large prediction about the nature of this gotcha, in that like you don't just pull gotcha to pull gotcha, you pull gotcha to get something. And what the girl is trying to get is her friend to come back to life.
Yeah.
So you have to pull this gotcha until you get your friend and save them. So at some
Oh no,
point
I don't think
in
it's
this
like that.
gotcha, she has to find her friend in order to win, and she has to help her friend survive her trauma. And
I think
like that's gonna be like the last episode they do because it's original, so like it's gonna end with an ending, and that episode is gonna be so fucking dark, dude. It's gonna be unbearably dark.
I don't know if that's true because I think part of the game is that for every person she saves, she's getting closer to her friend, like unstatufying in the dream world.
Yeah, but like when she goes back to the underground thing
Yeah.
and she's like walking around and sees all the eggs, the lightning bug slash god thing that's like brought her here makes some comment about like they're all waiting for their friend to come find them and save them, which
Okay.
makes it sound like the game is you have to save your friend. You
Okay.
don't just like pull gotcha to like release them. You have to save them in order for them to be released.
Okay. I can see that. Yeah.
I mean, it might be also like a quota thing. Like you have to save X number of other girls to like get the chance to get your friend to save them, kind of thing. But I kind of suspect that at some point we are gonna pull the friend in the gotcha and have to do her egg. It's gonna fucking suck, dude. Because I is
Uh,
probably gonna show up as part of the trauma.
yes, as she was blissfully unaware of what was going on.
Not unaware, just complacent and allowing it to happen. She knew what was happening. I was very aware of what was happening. As she stood there in that locker as her friend got probably
Oh, for
sexually
that.
assaulted.
Sorry,
Yeah.
for that. Not. I was thinking more about the teacher thing. I don't think she knows about that.
Oh, well, I actually don't know about that.
Yeah.
She might know about that one too. There was that creepy, like, do you hate me? When the teacher was sitting there in the room, and I was just like, no, I don't hate you. When very clearly the answer is, yes, dude, you're fucking creepy and weird.
Yeah, there is that too. But that's a Wonder Egg priority.
Yeah. It's dark. It's good. I gotta give it full props. It's good. I mean, it brought out an emotional response in me. It's just like, I do this. I do this because I want to like have fun and enjoy this. We're
Right,
gonna
right.
talk about skate later and why that comes in. But like, I do this to have fun and enjoy my life. I don't do this to experience like existential horrific dread of watching girls commit suicide off of a school building.
We're not watching them commit suicide. We're just dealing with the aftermath of it.
I don't want
That
to
makes it better.
I don't want to watch an episode of an anime and then have the unbearable urge to go down and drink a bottle of wine and slit my wrists into a river. Like
Well,
that
but
is the emotion this show releases in me. As I'm like, I just feel like I feel so connected to them because like it does a good job of being like this is their trauma. Like feel that feeling of like the horribleness that they experience. And you get to the end and like I think we said this before we started filming for ABC, but like we get to the end and it doesn't even end great because it just sort of ends and the girl is gone and Ai's just sitting there alone by herself and like there's no cathartic release of like I've saved you, like everything is good and like right with the world. It's just over. It just ends. And like I'm just left sitting here feeling kind of shitty. And it's just not enjoyable.
oh
Um
yeah, that feeling. Oh, one. I do have one complaint.
okay, go for it.
So I like that the trauma person like morphed into a monster, but I felt like the monster looked a little too cartoony for me. I wanted to make it. I wanted it
Mm,
to look a bit more creepy.
yeah,
Like
with her
the,
giant hanging tits.
that one, I didn't really give a shit about. Like I thought that was like really kind of weird and a little grotesque. It was the eyes for me that it looked way too anime. That looked like
Really? That
you
was your
could take
problem?
yeah you could take the face and like swap it and like take it into like a Saturday morning cartoon and it would look
Hmm.
in place. But just the face. I had an issue with the face.
Really?
That was yeah, that was my
Interesting.
issue.
I more had a problem with the design holistically. I didn't really care about the face, but like the four tits really was just the four tits thing where I was like, what the fuck is the point of this? Like, I get the four hands because like it's supposed to be like the
Yeah.
representation for getting slapped around all the goddamn time, but like, what the fuck is the point of the four tits on this chick other than to just like spray that pink goo at the one time where she blinded eye? Like, other than that, what was the point of the four tits? They were just there, and like, I just didn't get the point of them, and it was just weird and grotesque, and like,
Right,
I
that's what I
mean,
think it was supposed to be. It was just supposed to be grotesque.
but like it didn't contribute anything. Like it wasn't about the trauma wasn't even about being grotesque. Like the coach being grotesque. Like it just was grotesque for no reason.
It's
Is my
grotesque because
problem.
this is like just like this evilness that this girl had to deal with.
Uh,
Whether or not like everything, like the four hands
I
does
just
enough
like
of
that
it.
as like I feel like that's just you're allowing the show to do something shitty for the reasoning of like it's grotesque because it's evil, which those two things are not the same. Evil things don't have to be grotesque to be evil. It could look normal and still be evil. Case in point, the
The
coach was
teacher.
evil before she showed up and
Oh,
changed. That was an evil person. It didn't even have to body switch. It could have just been the coach and I would have been happy.
right. I would have been fine with that too. But the fact that it did like change and morph into that monster is I just wanted that monster to look a bit creepier for just me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I don't think it needed to look grotesque, and I think looking grotesque actually detracted from it, in my opinion.
Okay. I think I would have liked it more if it stayed as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, mostly because like the things that like do harm to you won't like be monsters. They'll look like normal people. That's what
Right.
like that's I guess because it's in like a dream, they want to make it look
Yeah,
more
it is supposed to be like the
dreamscapey.
dream thing. And the See No Evils are all like weird looking fucking gremlins with like red
Yeah,
masks. It's like everything's gonna look a little bit not
but
normal.
I'd prefer it of the options. I'd prefer it if they'd stayed in human form.
Hmm. I mean, yeah,
But
the axe
anyways,
murderer was more intimidating because it was just a chick
just
with
a
two
yeah,
axes.
a chick with an axe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a one direct priority. Go watch it if you want to destroy your feelings.
Hmm.
Um, let's instead talk about Skinfinity, Nick. Skinfinity.
Okay.
How did you
Skinfinity.
feel about Skinfinity?
Dude, we're out here in an Avril Lavigne song because I'm just a skater boy. Uh, I
This
liked it.
show, this show is just so fun.
It is really good.
Like,
It's it's very pastel-y.
I,
Like
I, I,
all the colors are very pastel and bright. It reminds me of a
I thought pastel was usually like kind of
uh
muted.
oh really?
Pastel
I mean,
colors, right?
I
When I think pastel, I think of God, what's the one fucking director's name? Oh God, he did Moonrise Kingdom and Fantastic Mr. Fox.
oh Wes Anderson.
Yeah, Wes Anderson. That's what I think of pastel, like the pinks and like the light blues.
Hmm.
I could be wrong. I don't know what pastel is. What's pastel look like?
I mean, it is. You're right. It is
Yeah,
probably a lighter shade than there is in a lot of skate, but like in terms of a show
it's
that is
colorful.
not dream-esque a la Wes Anderson movies, it is still like fairly pastel and colorful in like the character designs and their costumes and their hair colors and the like when they broke into the fucking or the final stage of the downhill race that they do where they go into the warehouse and it's all like bright neon colored strobe lights. It's all like light purples and light greens. So it's all like pastel colors. I mean, they're like slightly brighter than they would be in pastel just because it's nighttime, but like it's a fairly like light colored show as opposed to a dark colored show.
Um, Coming into the show, I thought it was going to be like super dumb and campy, and like that was it. Like it was just going to be like an average show, but dumb and campy and fun, and
Uh
just kind
huh.
of fun. But like the friendship between the two main characters is so fucking great. I
Right.
absolutely loved
Hmm.
it. Like it is. They didn't have to go that far with like just them just showing how like how great their relationship is. Like they didn't have to go into that like that far into it, but they did, and it really makes the show like feel a lot more alive. And like
Yeah.
all the characters are super colorful and so much fun. Um,
Well, because like
and
just from the
it's just
feeling of the first three episodes we got, I feel like the relationship of our two main characters is going to be like a big thing through the rest of the show.
yeah, it's gonna be like their relationship as it continues. I think there's gonna be like maybe a Sasuke retrieval arc going on because like this, we have the big bad and he's like a matador skater guy. He also I think is part of he's a politician or owns a company or something.
Yeah, it was a
He's a
little bit
big
weird.
wig.
Yeah, he's
He's a
some sort
big
of
wig,
like corporate bigwig.
and like he wants our character Langa or
Mm-hmm.
Langley. I'm gonna call him Langley,
Langley,
um,
the snowboarder. I'm sorry, the snowboarder.
snowboarder. Um, and he like wants him to be a really good snowboarder for some reason.
Yeah,
Um,
he
but
came in a very like that. The end of that last episode, it was like because the big bad, the villain in full Matador gear, like shows up on a skateboard, and he gets like real like I'm gonna stroke your leg in a sensual way, and at the last minute kind of pulls it back with the, "Can I touch you? Can I touch your leg?" Where I'm like, you know
at
what?
least he asked.
At least he asked.
Like he was also watching his first race or Langley's first race, bare chested and like with very tight pants, and I'm pretty sure no shoes. So there's like a sexual component to this that's going on.
I mean, there's definitely some like homoerotic overtones in this show.
Yes, that too. A lot of the characters are dudes.
Fucking
Um,
pink hair and green haired chef with their like fucking fighting bromance
yeah.
as the one guy just rolls around with no shirt on when he's
But look,
skating.
look, listen. If this is Fujo bait, I don't give a shit because it's really fucking good Fujo bait.
Cause I'm in. They've
Like, even
got
the
me
girls
hook,
look
line, and
great.
sinker. Call me Avril Lavigne.
Even
Are
the
there that
girls
many
look great.
girls though?
Yeah, like the mom, the Langley's mom, fucking hottie.
Oh right.
And then there's like the
there are two moms. There's Langla's mom and
oh,
the red-haired guy's mom.
she's cute too, I guess. You also have the harems. You have green haired guy's harem and then pink haired guy's harem.
Oh right, I don't remember. They're all background chicks. I didn't pay
Yeah,
attention to them.
but really, like the standout chick is Langley's mom. Who's got it going on.
You should have a thing for moms, which is
I
weird
think
because
for
you don't like
Langley's
kids.
mom.
She's a widow, so be careful with
Even
that.
better. Oh god,
But I'm your teacher. That's what makes it great. That's the best part.
that's the best part. We should work out. Anyways, so the first few episodes of the show, we're kind of building up our characters right now, because we only actually get the big bad at the end of the third episode. First episode, Langley shows up at school. He's from Canada. Canada representation going on over here.
Yep.
I think the only Canadian character I've seen in anime.
Yep. And then in this next episode, they also play the joke of like, "Oh, you're so great coming from America," and Langle's like, "You know, I'm from Canada, right?" And
From Canada.
Langle's like, "Yeah, whatever. Fucking close enough, right?"
I bathe in maple syrup.
So even though they do have Canada representation, they also have the shot at Canada of it's basically just North America, right? You're Americans.
But he shows up. He's looking for a part-time job. Redhead guy's like, "Yo, I can hook you up. Come deliver this.
Work for my skate shop.
Deliver this skateboard for me over at this special place. You can only get it by sitting at this bench and like hailing this one black dude to give you a sticker."
He's called a touch pass, Brendan. Welcome to the world of like doing illegal things. What they performed is called a touch pass. It is a technique used in actual drug dealing. Because this is a world in which rather than having underground like car races, we have underground skateboard races. Except for they're
Yeah.
not very underground in that it's very very highly acknowledged and like very well organized.
Yeah.
Because like they have like legit organizers that like make sure that people aren't like all over the roads when they're gonna do like these massive downhill races that happen.
There's also like
Um,
fucking cameras everywhere.
Yeah, although
It's
I
an
kind
operation.
Of, well, they actually, yeah, because the people can like watch the live streams on their
Yeah.
phones of the other cameras. So it's a whole operation for this underground thing that's all hush hush, and you have to have a special badge to get into. Anyways,
Yep. So they deliver the skateboard, but because our main character is kind of an idiot, he brought the wrong skateboard. He brought his old one. And the guy they bought it for is like, "Hey, this shit's garbage. I don't want to do this. You fucking do it." But the main character can't do it because he's kind of hurt from his first skateboarding match with Shadow, where Shadow threw a bunch of firecrackers at him and he got hurt. Shadow is
yeah, because
one.
apparently that's like a legit thing you can do in this world is just like
Guess so.
interfere with each other during these races. Doesn't seem super legit, but apparently is okay.
Yeah.
So instead,
So-
Langley has to step up, and he looks at the skateboard. He had gotten on a skateboard earlier and immediately busted his ass, and so he decides like, oh, I could do this now. Except for he tapes his feet to the board,
Because he is a snowboarder.
because he is a snowboarder and needs his feet fully secured to his board in order to feel comfortable, which kind of makes sense. But so the race starts, and Langley, after an inauspicious start, because can't exactly, with snowboarding, you just sort of are going downhill. Gravity does the work for you when you start. Doesn't really work that way with a skateboard. It's got to know the kick and push. But Langley doesn't know that and has his feet taped to the board, so instead he has to sort of drag himself along with his hands until he can get going. But then we get some legit snowboarding skills out of him.
We
As he
get some
does some
fucking
like
Sasuke.
crazy fucking turns.
Yeah. This show is so well animated.
It really was.
But we have the race. He does some snowboarding tricks to beat Shadow, and he wins. And
Yeah.
he gets the target set on him. People are like, "Oh, this guy, there's something up with this guy."
He doesn't really get anything out of the race. It was
No, that's-
technically a
this
race
is-
for like you can decide to tattoo the loser with whatever you want, but like we never really see that happen, so we're not really certain that he gets anything out of
No,
this.
this is when we see the main bad going like, "Oh,
Well,
yeah, that
I
guy
mean,
has
he gets a
something."
lot of people to pay attention to him, which, like,
Yeah.
realistically, do you want those types of people paying attention to you? Like, he doesn't really win anything. He kind of just loses in the end, ultimately.
Well, yeah, that's how he gets a target on his back. It's not like you want to get
Yeah.
a target on your back. But anyways, the second episode is mainly just our main characters just having a bro down for a good 20 minutes, just
Pretty
learning
much.
skate, and
Yeah,
it's
they learn to
fucking great.
skate, and we remake a board like 3 or 4 times as we like slowly iterate on how to create a board that Langley can actually use. And yeah, it's pretty enjoyable as they like go through all the different little moments of like trying to learn how to like do an ollie, and we see them like, being bros after school and being bros during school and being bros while they eat French fries together. Like, we
Pass
sort
the
of get to
ketchup. We're
see
kind of
like a
like
lot
a
of
skateboard.
their connection to each other. It's kind of
Yeah.
cool. I like it.
I also like that we were watching our main character. I guess Laney's basically the main character. I don't know.
I
We're
think he
watching one of
is.
our main characters basically like learn how to skateboard and just like basically bust his ass every fucking second.
Yeah.
And it's a very real thing that you'll go through if you're trying to learn basically anything. You're gonna suck a lot before you're like any good at all.
He also, so we learn some skateboarding terminology as it refers to Langley, in that he skates goofy-footed,
Yep.
which
think
I
it's your
believe
left
is
foot?
your left foot forward.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Um, they also
Oh,
kick
that's
from
how
the
I
back,
skate.
which feels counterproductive to me. I always feel like you should kick from the front, but I do know that that is how you're supposed to kick. I think there is a terminology as well for kicking with your lead foot instead, but I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Um,
Goofy paddling.
I
I don't know.
don't think that's quite
If
what
it's
it is.
different, I'll just go with Goofy.
Fair. That's very fair.
I think I was goofy footed. I don't remember. The one time I got onto a skateboard, it felt right to have my left foot forward. I don't remember. Right? I don't
You,
know.
you probably try to kick with your left foot too.
I don't remember. I tried to skateboard once, and then some kids stole it from my porch.
Ah, okay.
Anyways, and then our third episode is the build up to a race between our Langley and Mia. Right, Mia? Mia's his skateboard name, right?
Yes. I feel like his
And-
name is longer than that.
I thought it was too. Anyways, it's this, I guess, shorter kid. I don't know if he's younger. I think he's supposed to be the same age.
I think he's. I don't
Maybe
know.
younger?
It's hard to say. They treat him
Yeah.
weird. I feel like he might be younger than them.
He does have, like, the weird, like, school uniform, which makes him look a lot younger. And,
The
like,
phrase is Mongo push. I found it.
Mongo push.
That's what it's called. Pushing with your front foot is Mongo pushing.
I like Goofy paddling better.
Goofy paddling. It doesn't mean anything. You just made it up.
That's why I'm saying I liked it better. But yeah, he like wears the similar outfit to God, what's his name? Usagi Kid in Fruits Basket.
Oh, fuck. The
Yeah,
German,
like he's
the
got
German
the little
blonde-haired kid.
the German blonde kid. He's got the beret, right? And I guess that's a beret. Or he's got the little hat and like
Yeah.
a similar
oh, yeah.
outfit.
When he's wearing his school uniform. Yeah, yeah.
That
I
shit
see
is like anti-drip, dude. That's the
When
word.
we first saw him, I was like, "Oh, cool! We're gonna have a female character." Nope, was a dude. Did not fully did not expect that. Thought he was wearing a sailor's uniform. Was very shocked when that was a guy.
Oh, even though you watched Fruits Basket, I was like, oh, that's kind of like he's gonna be like a Usagi Kid.
I still though, even though we watched Fruits Basket, looking at him, I was like, he's diminutive. He's wearing the sailor's uniform. Like it's kind of low cut. Everything about it. I was like, this is gonna be a girl. Like we're gonna have a female character. I was super okay with it because like it was gonna be our only female main character or like supporting character, I guess. But nope, was a dude. Just a cast full of dudes.
Yeah. But like everyone else wears that same outfit. But like I said, that outfit looks fucking garbage. I don't like that
so
uniform.
Yeah, that school uniform is fucking atrocious, dude.
The main character's uniform looks much better. It's just super simple, black shirt, black pants. Boom.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with that.
They're not like a shirt. They're like some weird like jacket thing.
Yeah, like it's a thing. Like whatever. The black outerwear that they're wearing.
Yeah,
but
because
this kid-
our main character, who may not actually be our main character, red hair, wears like in his school uniform. He wears like
Oh, yeah.
a sweater under or a sweatshirt under his school uniform.
Right.
So like, I don't know if those school uniforms are they heavy? Are they light? Like, what is are they good for the winter? Is it like if you wear
Dude.
it in the winter, you're fucked?
Nick, it's anime. Don't just.
Yeah.
It's whatever. Just who cares?
I mean, it has to be based
I
on
don't
a
know.
real piece of clothing that people wear, though.
I mean, it probably is, but like, I've never seen I've never actually seen like a real like documentary or like article about like the uniforms in Japan. So I don't know how like I just don't know about them, and I don't really care.
That's fair.
Anyways, Mia or whatever that kid's name is, who his skating outfit is like a dog sweater with
Cat.
like a tail.
It's
Cat
definitely a
sweater with a
cat because it has a
Okay.
long tail. A long,
Dogs
thin
can have
tail.
long tails.
Yes, they can.
I guess-
remember that, but it's a,
I guess,
very
like, the
long,
ears-
like cat tail.
I guess the pointy ears kind of more conform with like cats. Anyways,
Uh-huh.
um, he like is really good at skateboarding. We see like
Good
his
at tricks.
backstory that good at tricks. He was pretty good at skateboarding in general.
I mean, he was good
Um,
at skateboarding in general, but more specifically talking about like he's renowned in the community because he's a
a trick
member of the
master.
national team, which as far as I can tell is like a skateboarding trick national team
Yeah,
where they do like indoor without ramps like skateboarding techniques.
yeah.
Um, and he's like really good and is like a young prodigy at it essentially. So like
Which
I don't know that
begins
he's
to
being
ostracize.
recruited for his speed at skateboarding so much as he is as his like technical dexterity with the board.
Yeah, and that actually begins to ostracize him basically. Um,
Hmm.
he's really good, and his friends, who he like grew up skateboarding with, kind of like start to think that he's like uh, um, unprompted. They think he's like acting all high and mighty, which is a little
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
So he
They
stops.
started this whole like we can't be friends because you're too good at this and you're gonna look down on us later. Even though like
It never
in his
happened.
mind they were still friends, he never looked down on them. Like as far as we could tell, nothing bad ever happened. Yeah.
Those kids are kind of just dicks,
Yeah, those kids are kind of just fucking assholes.
which plays into which is really cool. Not that they're assholes, but like the juxtaposition between those kids and red hair, where red hair like acknowledges that white hair is getting better than him, and he's like
Hmm.
down for it. Like he's 100% cool with it. Like he's so happy that white hair is like that Langley's like being fucking cool, great at this thing that he's starting to pick up.
Yeah, and it's like because they're just like two
Actively
guys
encouraging
who
him.
have like the same hobby,
Yeah,
and he's just happy because like they're having a good time together, enjoying the same hobby.
right. Um,
It will be interesting to see if Red Hair like becomes more of like a board technician and like designs new and crazier boards because we see in like episode 3 as like the modifications to Langley's board is like increased and increased. They put on some like insane pair trucks, like literally there is no human way that like you could use that board in a controllable manner, but they slap on essentially like a rolly
Rotator?
chairs rotating
Yeah.
wheel onto the truck so that your two front wheels and your two back wheels, I think both of the wheels had it,
yeah.
they
So
could
they kind of
rotate with the direction of motion.
yeah they kind of act like the IKEA carts, which I
Mhm.
fucking hate because they're so fucking hard to move around.
Yeah,
And they even mentioned in this episode where like if you start moving in one direction, it's really hard to like start moving in another one.
yeah,
Which the way they write that off is Langley just knows how to do it.
yeah, because it's a motion pattern and like a a frictional like direction that Langley's accustomed to with snowboarding, so he just knows how to make it work.
Yeah.
They never explained like how you would actually do that going downhill at the speeds that they're going. Like
Right. In this case, like
he could
I'm
not
okay.
take a fast turn doing those at
Yeah. In this
all.
case, I'm okay with it because like I don't know jack shit about skateboarding, so like whatever. Like I fucking believe it. I don't care.
Yeah. The technical possibility of this is not the relevant portion. It looks good. Fucking Langley pulls off some sick fucking turns using these things. Like fuck it, let's go for it. I think like his 360 degree like a sharp left hander. Like realistically, you would just fucking bust your ass doing that at 60. And like they also say they're going at 60 miles an hour.
Jesus.
Fucking one of them would die doing that. Like
Yeah.
that's not actually how fast they're going.
It's a fucking miracle that red hair only like had like broken fingers out of that.
Yeah.
But back to the main kid, or not main kid, but Mia's thing, the cat kid. He basically gets jealous that red hair and white hair are like fucking bros. He like legit
Right.
like gets across to them like a little
He gets
fucking
like so
dipshit.
fucking salty that they're friends, even though like in his mind like Langley is like becoming a competitor and red hair sucks. He's like, oh, you're just a slime and heroes can't be friends with slimes. You must be a couple of slimes, you fucking slimes. And they're both standing there like, dude, what the fuck is a slime? Like, what are you saying to us right now? But yeah, so cat ears gets salty, gets fucking salty jeans about the fact that they're friends and challenges Langley like, we need to have a race and I'll decide what we're betting on later. Which, like, if you're throwing down the gauntlet of, like, we need to have a challenge, it's kind of shitty that you then also get to pick what's on the table for said challenge. If you're throwing down the gauntlet for, like, let's have a challenge, I should be the one to be like, all right, if you're gonna challenge me, you have to be willing to put up X. Like, you don't get to decide what the challenge is if you also are the one challenging. Sort of garbage. But that aside,
Nick,
my complaint about
terminology.
the
Hold on, your terminology. It's not a challenge. It is a beef. I'm
it's
starting
beef,
a beef.
right? I'm starting beef with you. They're also not using that word correctly. Uh, that annoyed me more than anything. The fact that like they referred to the races as beefs. They're like, you had a beef with Shadow yesterday. I'm like, what the fuck? What the fucking fuck is this?
You got a beef on the S, bro. Go rip some
Troy.
gnar.
Troy, I think he's looking for some of your classic roast beef. Oh my god. Oh god.
It's so stupid.
It's so dumb, dude. But yeah, so fuck. I can't stop laughing when I want to talk about their beef. I also want to say it with a weird accent because there's no way to just say beef. I want to really emphasize the beef.
If there were a show to do beef stew, this would be the show to do it in.
Beef stew. That's what it was. Fuck. It wasn't roast beef. It was beef stew. You're right.
Beef stew. Beef stew.
Do you think at some point, like when we race the big bad, fuck, I can't get through this joke without laughing. When we race the big bad, do you think they're gonna call it Beef Supreme? I challenge you to a Beef Supreme.
At some point, they're just gonna have like the restaurant's hell menu. Y'all have number 7, a beef supreme with the matador.
Oh my god, Taco Bell needs to underwrite this show immediately. It would be so good.
But the race ends with
I don't know if we're
Langley
ready for
winning.
Beef Supreme. Let's go for a Crunchwrap Supreme instead. Okay,
Anyways.
let's talk about the show now.
Langley wins.
Cry.
Yeah, Langley wins, and Mia's like super salty, but Red Hair's like, bro, you made fun of us because of you. You said the friendship of Matt. You made fun of us because we had the power of friendship. But guess what? I'm gonna power friendship you now.
Yeah, you're my friend. Say you're my homie. And he does
but
like
he's a
the
tsundere, so he
squish
doesn't.
your face around. As he's like,
Yeah.
you're my friend, football friends. And that's when we
And
have the
then-
Matador bust in
Yep.
fucking resplendent gear.
So
Considering the fact that he's like a senator apparently too, it's like that dude
Yeah,
is
so
really something.
I don't
else.
know much about Japanese, like the way the Japanese political system works, but they mentioned diet, right?
Yeah,
that's how
the diet.
The diet.
Mhm.
And I know that's like a pretty. I think that's basically like the Senate,
Yeah,
and like he was supposed to show up there, so like he's a pretty like big dude.
yeah, like he is somebody important. We
Yeah.
saw in the first episode they had like before the episode began, they did like a rundown of like maybe you're a businessman, maybe you're a calligrapher, maybe you're a restaurant owner, maybe you're a student, and like he was the Matador was the businessman, and like
Yeah.
we saw him running a business with like his face on a sign out in front of it. I thought the dude was just gonna be like an entrepreneur or like an investor or something. He's like a full on like senator basically. Like the
could be like a
dude is like
lobbyist.
probably a millionaire.
Yeah.
and
When he
he
first
just
came
shows
in-
up in like fucking looking like Dio,
I mean,
riding
okay,
on
by
his
the way,
fucking
he is
skateboard alone.
voiced by Dio.
Is he actually? I mean,
Yes,
the
he's
dude
supposed
looks
to be
like
Dio.
it. He's got the fucking eyebrows. He's got the fucking look. Like everything about him. I was like, this is Dio. This just is Dio.
When he first came in, I thought it was really funny because he's on the skateboard, so he's just like floating in.
Yeah, he's just gliding in, arms out, like he's Jesus.
And I was like, wait, how's he doing that? And then you just see the skateboard behind him.
Yeah.
It's just. Why do people take this so seriously?
Do people take this show seriously? I mean,
No.
you
I meant
can't.
like in the show, like don't take the. Well,
Oh yeah.
yeah. So half of it, like this premise is super silly and dumb, but like the actual like writing of the show itself is like good enough where like you can take it seriously. Like the actual progression of the main character's friendship is fucking phenomenal. Like
Yeah.
it's so well done, much better done than like other shows where like the friendship is the main thing. Like in fucking Naruto and Sasuke's case, like this fucking relationship blows that shit out of the water.
Yeah. And like outside of some of the weird like stuff that's going on with the specific characters, if you just imagine this world as like rather than illegal car racing, they just do skateboard racing instead at night, like it's fundamentally the same thing.
Yeah.
where like you show up with like your tricked out skateboard instead of your tricked out lowrider, and like, you know, you engage in some like, we're gonna throw down for pink slips instead. It's like, I'm gonna throw down to like burn your board at the end of this. Like, it's essentially the same thing. It's just like an alternate world where it's skateboarding instead of
Yeah.
cars. Like, it makes sense, like the same sort of thing. It's just all of the other stuff that goes into this world.
It's just so silly.
Like Carla, the fucking skateboarding assistant, the AI skateboarding assistant, who's apparently not an AI.
Watch it be like just some lady in like a fucking like office. That'd be the best fucking
That would be the best.
twist ever.
If it just was somebody, and he just had a camera, and he just had somebody like in an office doing math the whole time of like angles to the next turn and stuff like that. That'd be amazing.
Right. But overall, yeah, like the show's silly, but it's silly in the best way possible. Like, it doesn't take itself too seriously, and like the stuff it does take seriously, it does very well. Like, well, I may have not liked the backstory of the younger, the shorter kids, like not trauma, but like his backstory with like his friends kind of hating him because he's better than them.
Right.
Despite the fact that he's never like shoved in their face. His like loneliness, and as he's trying to like, in a dumb way, try to get friends, was still like very nicely done. Like, he was kind of like this lonely kid trying to make friends, and he was doing it kind of in a bad way. And now like he's had someone reach out to him, and now they're gonna become friends, and it's really nice.
Yeah.
So like that, it just does the stuff it needs to do seriously. It does seriously. The stuff that it does silly, it does silly, and it like holds no like reservations.
Yeah. It is unapologetically silly at times, but like it also knows when to tone it down, to be like, we're gonna do a serious thing, and like the two mesh together in a way where it never feels like we're like short shifting our tone, essentially, where I'm not like, it's super silly, it's super serious, super silly, super serious. Like it
There's no
flows
whiplash.
together. Yeah, exactly. It flows together well. So like I'm always with it. I'm never feeling like this is just awkwardly like jammed in here. Like awkwardly some super serious stuff happened in like my silly show, or like awkwardly there's some silliness in my serious show. Like it's a good mix of both all the time.
It's like Beyblade, where like they take it right. Like in Beyblade, they take that shit so seriously.
Yeah, they do.
But like this is for like an aged up audience who like who aren't full of themselves. Because like I feel like if you like, try to show the show to someone who's like, oh, I only watch super serious things, they'll be like, no, what is this garbage? This is like kid shit. We're like, yeah, that's the fucking point. This is fucking great.
Right. I would agree.
Yeah. I'm loving it.
Oh yeah. I was going to say earlier, but I'll say it now because it kind of fits in. The show reminds me of Tony Hawk's American Wasteland, I believe is what the game was called, which I think was the spiritual successor to Tony Hawk Underground, where it's the seriousness mixed with the silliness, because it was both a game set in like the West Coast and like actually to do with like sort of the trailing off of the skateboarding scene over there, and like how like less and less people were getting involved in it, but also had like some silliness of like weird stuff would happen. It was pre-skate and like the Hall of Meat, where like you're just bailed off your board and try to break your body as much as possible, but it's still like encouraged you to do like weird shit, like impossible tricks and stuff like that. So it's that combination of the seriousness, the silliness, and like the reverence that it takes with skating itself. Because like in terms of everything else to do with the show, like the skating in it, while there is probably stuff that is physically impossible, like you can tell that it genuinely cares about skating as a thing.
Oh yeah,
like watching the dude hit an ollie, like pop an ollie for the first time, and like how happy both of them were when he popped the first ollie and like landed it. Like that was two people who genuinely cared about skating, watching somebody finally land a first ollie.
It's two characters just like loving their hobby and like just being so impassioned.
Mm-hmm.
And it's infectious.
Oh, absolutely. It was super enjoyable to watch. I we'll see like what happens as time goes on. I kind of suspect that at some point we'll stop doing just pure like speed races and go into more like trick-based things.
I hope so. I feel like that might be where we're heading, given that the Matador like is looking for like a team maybe, because we know that he has like had interactions with the cat kid,
Yeah.
who does like tricks.
Hmm.
So we'll see how that like all ties together
So at some
later
point
on.
we might see Langley land his first kickflip.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows that that's the most important trick in skateboarding. Um, but yeah,
No, Nick,
I,
it
I
should
do
have
kind
told me
of
that
wonder
it
like
was the
how.
ollie.
Oh right, it is. Yeah, Ollie. I should have learned that from the show. It told me how important the Ollie was, how it changed the game. Um, I do kind of wonder how they're going to like move forward from here because, like I said, we've had like two of the downhill races so far, and like we can only really do the downhill race so many times before it just
Gets
a
old.
la Sarah Zonmai's problem. It's just the downhill race all the time, and it gets really boring.
Yeah, at least this one they used different animations.
Right. Because this time he like the first time he had his feet taped to the board, and this time like he has the board in the style that he's going to use presumably for the rest of time. But like the course that they go down is like 90% down this like wooded old
Yeah.
mine like pathway, so it's like very curvy and like has a lot of like sharp lefts and sharp rights, and then it ends in this like warehouse thing. But like most of the action of the race just happens in that like last 100 meters that is the warehouse section. Other than that, like the rest of the course really doesn't fucking matter. It's just sort of a place for them to do like some awesome turns.
We did see like bits and pieces of like not characters but like just people making doing tricks in random places.
Hmm.
So I feel like I want to get some of that. I want to see them do like tricks and stuff like in a smaller course or like in a skate park.
Yeah, I'm hoping at some point we'll do like a kind of like the X Games where we'll have like
Oh,
half pipe or big air or something like that, where we'll whip
yeah.
out some of the like the awesome ramps and do some like sweet tricks that you can do.
I hope that
Because we've
happens. Yeah.
seen Langley hit some sort of snowboarding technique. I don't remember what they called it. I think it was like a rodeo Andy or something.
Yeah. The one
So
where
like
you do
clearly he
like
knows how
a
to
flip.
do tricks.
Yeah.
Um, so I hope at some point we will do some more X Games, like hit the half pipe, like I said, which is a classic both skateboarding thing and in like X Games lore. Like the half pipe is where the first 900 was landed. So I want to see him do some proper like X Games esque trick skateboarding. But in terms of Langley, he has a while to go before he's ready to do something like that. So we will see
Yeah.
what happens.
Overall, very fun show.
Oh, absolutely. Really fun. Like I said, really, really colorful. I love the palette of the show. Um, I'm interested to see like how the other characters will get involved because we know that pink hair and green haired restaurant owner are both like sort of on the sidelines at the moment, but at some point they'll get involved. So I'm interested to see how it'll all come together and like what the
Yeah.
importance of it will be, what our team of five will ultimately do.
And so we'll move on to our second to last show, Jakuchara.
Okay.
Nick, I've talked to you about the show a couple times before. So how do you feel about it? Well, Jakuchara, aka
Um.
Rising of the Incel.
Yeah. I don't know. In the beginning, I didn't like it. I'll be honest. In the beginning, the first episode, as they were like yelling at each other about like what it is to quote unquote play the game of life and not the board game, actually living your life. Somewhere along the lines of her with her like espousing whatever shit she was saying, I was like, I don't know. I kind of just tuned her out as I was like, I'm just not feeling it. Like I'm just not feeling what you're saying. I'm not picking up what you're putting down here. But then somewhere along the lines of like the second or third episode of like watching our character like properly learn how to be a normal human being. I mean, the show is learn how to interact for otakus. First of all, that's what this show is.
Yes.
Um, Somewhere along that, I sort of more felt like maybe it's not the worst show. Like maybe there's actually some like good things happening and like it's a solid show. Like I was enjoying it by somewhere around the second or third episode again. Um, I don't know like ultimately in this show like I don't know how I'm gonna continue to feel about it as time goes on. It's so much a show that is made up of like how much I feel like what is happening is actually
Believable?
yeah, not just believable but like stuff that I agree with And here the
Right.
question mark, because I don't know that that's exactly the way I want to phrase it.
Stuff you believe works.
Yeah, I guess it's a better way of putting it.
There's like a self-help kind of style to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and self-help usually is a load of garbage. It's garbage industry. Never actually
Right.
helps you at all. Um, but I still like the show. I like the two characters. Our main character is kind of like I've seen him be kind of compared to Ape Man. Although well, Ape Man I felt was more like antagonistic. This
Mm-hmm.
kid's just kind of like, awkward and shy.
A-Man also has a more, uh, like firm grasp of his opinion of the world.
Yeah.
A-Man believes strongly, at least in the beginning of the show. A-Man believes strongly in his whole like, the high school is garbage. Everyone's awful. I don't want to be friends with anybody because everybody in high school is like awful and fake, and like die normies. Like, A-Man is firmly entrenched in that, a la Mac in the evolution debate. I'm dug in, and I won't change my mind. Um,
Oh
that is
no,
Ape
I'm
Man at
dug
the
in.
beginning of that show. Our character kind of firmly believes the whole like, the game of life is a shit game, but really he doesn't believe it. Like really, he just rolls over almost immediately and is like, she compared it to Smash Bros that I love. Therefore, I'm gonna listen to everything she says now. Like he just sort of rolls over and dies on that hill almost immediately.
Yes, he is very much a wimp.
Yeah. So I don't know
Um,
that I would agree that he is like Ape Man, because at the very least, I have to give Ape Man credit for he is dug into his belief. As I've grown older, I think that his belief is dumb and stupid and sort of pointless, but like at least
yes,
he's
Ape Man
dug
is
in
an
on his
idiot.
belief. Gotta give him full credit for that.
Uh, have you read Catch in the Rye?
I have.
Or like, okay, I kind of read it. I was told to read it. I read enough of it where I could
Right.
kind of remember some pieces of it. But like
Mhm.
at the very least, I kind of reminded of Holden a bit, both Ape Man and Tomozaki. I'm reminded of Holden from those two, with like the whole normie stuff.
Uh-huh.
But more importantly, how looking back at the book, I like Holden more as a character because he's such a fucking idiot. But like when I was reading it, I was just so angry at him all the time, and I didn't know why. And I found out as I grew older, it's because like Holden's a fucking teenager. Like he
Mhm.
is like 100% like just no holds barred teenager, and
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, being a teenager is so fucking annoying.
Oh yeah.
And like this is like kind of what's going on here, where like this kid's just trying to like figure out how to do stuff. And right now they're like also doing this thing where like this girl's just kind of helping him out of like the kindness of her heart, kind of like a manic pixie girl thing, which I hope they kind of like put on its head a little bit at some point.
Hmm.
Because we have seen that our character now is kind of like he is uh, um, pushing back on some things that she's saying. A la this last episode, he accidentally lies to a girl. It turns out it's kind of okay with him,
Yeah.
or not okay with him, but like it kind of puts him in a better position with her. But like
Mhm.
he's not very thrilled, and he like wants to tell her the truth, which I
Right.
think that's not wrong. Like, yeah, like just fess up. Like I lied to you. I didn't actually read the book, but I'll read it now because it seems
See-
interesting, right?
Yeah,
I
see,
don't
I
know.
went the other way with that. I was like, you don't tell her, and instead, you just read the fucking book.
You can do that too.
Never
You can
tell
read
her
the
that you
book.
lied. You just read the book.
But anyways, like both our stuff isn't what she said. She said,
Right.
"Who cares? Like fuck
Who
it."
cares? Just don't bring up the book, and if you never talk about the book again, your lie clearly wasn't relevant, and therefore you're morally excused from lying. Which, like,
Right?
slippery slope there. First of all,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
But our character is saying like, "Hey, that's kind of a shitty thing to do."
right?
So I like
Like,
that
I still just
conflict between the
fundamentally
two.
feel bad about lying.
Yeah,
Um, it does sort of make her look like a sociopath. That she's like, I
that's
get
what.
that you
Yeah.
feel bad about lying, but instead, don't feel bad about lying, and instead
Use this
go
to
on
your
a
advantage.
date.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I said, this is a sociopath teaching someone else how to be a sociopath,
a little bit, yes.
and that
This
kind
is
of
two
tickles me a bit.
sociopaths talking about them becoming sociopaths.
That's
It's
it.
all coming together, Brendan. It's like
Um,
Inception.
yeah. I kind of want her to be more like a Masaki character from Welcome to HK, where we find out the Masaki's like fucking crazy and like not the best person to be helping other people out.
Uh-huh.
So I kind of want the show to do something similar with that. So something similar to that.
See,
And not
she's got
just
too many friends for me to believe that at some point we'll realize like she's actually insane or something like that. Like
I don't think she'll be
feel
insane, but like at the very least push back on like, hey, you know, if you lie to people, you shouldn't just think that it's okay-ish.
at the very least, I would like it to push back on her with like, you are leading this like double life of, you know, being like super fulfilled and like you're not being who you are. And that was like, a
Yeah.
major part of the third episode, where they talk about one of her friends who like always just speaks her mind and like is the way that she is. Like the main
Second, I
girl,
think.
it was the second episode. Okay,
Yeah,
the main
where
girl like has this hobby that she really enjoys of playing the not Smash Bros game, and like this is just
Yeah, the
something
big
that
one.
never comes up in school. Like she never talks about it with anybody at school, never tells any of her friends that she does this, and like, you know, at some point they should push back on that of like, you are not being genuine to who you are. Like you are living this life of being the person that you show everybody, but is not actually who you are because you're not showing them that you're also a huge Attack Fam nerd.
Yeah. So what I'm hoping happens is, you know, these two extremes kind of like start to mellow each other out a bit. That is my hope for the show.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, adaptation-wise, it's fairly like, like it doesn't look amazing. It doesn't sound amazing.
It looks
It's
very
very,
generic.
Yeah, it looks very generic. That fucking opening is one of the most generic pieces of garbage I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh yeah,
There's nothing that stands out about it.
yeah.
But overall, like I still like it as a show. I think it's good, and I've been enjoying it. But yeah, the second episode was the blue-haired girl like agrees with everyone, and then like the shorter girl is the one that like speaks her mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the third episode was talk to the
white-haired girl.
person who sits next
Oh,
to
wait.
you.
Yeah. The girl in the cardigan.
Yeah, talk to her twice a day, every day. As we were seeing the like flashcards of him talking to her every day, it looked like she was becoming more and more physically uncomfortable with every conversation. And I was pretty convinced at the end of the week she was gonna be like, "Stop fucking stalking me, you fucking stalker!" Like it looked like, because there was a shot of her standing in front of her locker, like clutching some books in front of her chest, and I was like, that is the standing position of someone who is terrified,
Yeah,
who's
the
trapped in the
scared.
conversation and wants to fucking leave. But it does not work out that way. What instead happens is, yeah, after he talks to white-haired girl and gets a date, and then complains about the date to the main girl, he goes outside and sees the girl that he spent all week talking to kind of unsuccessfully, and sees her looking kind of sad, and so he decides
Hey,
to approach her.
why are you
pleaded
sad?
why are you so fucking sad, girl? Great, top tier conversationalist, this kid. I mean, he critiques himself, but even then, that was some fucking, oh god, incel energy right there.
At least it's getting better. At least it's getting better.
Is he though? Like, is he actually getting better? At least it wasn't as physically uncomfortable as the whole like. The high
want the
school girls
mannequin.
are so compassionate.
Oh.
Glory be to the compassion of high school girls. I was like, that made me physically uncomfortable. I kind of had to skip through like some couple seconds of that as I was like, I can't deal with this. I'm
That
like a
was
2
funny.
striker, and this is like 5 strikes. That was intensely uncomfortable.
It's all about delivery.
It was not about the delivery of that. That was horrendous to watch.
Oh no,
It
say
was-
had he delivered it differently, it would have been a lot funnier.
It would not have been. It was
think
just
it would have
deeply
been.
uncomfortable.
But
But
like,
yeah, so after he fumble fucks his way through, "Why you so sad, girl?" which doesn't even come out like that. It comes out way more judgy and
what's up with the gloomy face?
yeah.
Hey, horse face. What's with the long face?
Basically, that is how it sounded. Yes. Then the girl kind of clapped back and then was like, "Why you fucking like calling me sad? I'm not fucking sad, you fucking weirdo."
So he
She
decides to
eventually
leave.
comes out with like, "Hey, you're good at that Smash Bros game, right?" And after a little bit of fumble fucking around by him, she basically says, "Hey, teach me how to play the Smash Bros game." Probably because she's interested in a guy who's good at the Smash Bros game.
Probably the main
Probably
antagonist.
the main antagonist.
The other
Or
kid.
Question
Just
mark.
the other kid. The popular other.
Yeah,
The other
popular kid.
Yeah.
Who we saw in the first scene of the first episode.
Yeah, the loser.
The loser. The fucking
I like.
fox playing nerd.
But yeah, that's the show. The loser in the game, but not the real loser in real life.
Right. There's a long silence here as I try to think of what I want to say about this show now. Uh, I'm weighing between talking about the show and just, insulting us, as it's hard to talk about the show without by like association sounding salty about things.
Just fucking do it.
I mean,
Do it, you pussy. Brand
I mean,
spot.
just like the way we talk about like
Conversationalist.
he's the loser, but in reality he's the winner in life, and like stuff like that. Where I'm like, in a different like again going back to like it's the delivery that sells it. Like in a different delivery, like that just comes out super fucking salty sounding. Like we're just salty about him like having an okay life.
The popular kid, right? Not the main kid, because the main kid just goes home.
Yeah,
and
the
plays,
popular
but
kid. Yeah, the main kid just goes home and plays Smash Bros. Very reminiscent of everything that I've done for the past year. Thanks, COVID.
So I have like read part of the manga, so I know what kind of happens with the popular kid, and it's kind of funny. But we'll get to it. I think
we'll
it's the
probably
next
get to
episode
it.
that happens. Yeah, we'll get to it. I didn't
Okay.
read much. Like I'm pretty sure the next episode, or the episode after, like we've caught up to how far I got.
Okay.
But let me
But
tell
yeah,
you.
it was really up and down. Like I said, I watched them all at once, and like the first episode, something about it just rubbed me the wrong way. Something about her like thing, her whole like spiel that she gave him. I was like,
Was
you're
it like
fucking
a-
wrong. Like you're just a judgy fucking asshole that nobody likes because you're just telling someone else how to live their life. Like let people live their life the way they want to live their life. Granted, he didn't want to live his life that way. He acknowledged like he had a shit life and like did want to change, but just didn't want to put in the effort to change until he met her and then suddenly decided to put in the effort to change. But whatever, people's motivations come for weird reasons. But still, like the first episode, I was on a very low note with this show as I just was not feeling her. I was just not feeling the show at all. But yeah, it changed over time. I think having less judgy, better, happier characters helped the show, helped my opinion of the show.
So basically, the
'Cause once we
introduction
have-
of the other characters.
Yes. Yeah. Basically, the introduction of the other characters as actual characters, I started to like the show more. Because it wasn't just two sociopaths talking about how to, like, gamify life in order to, like, end up with a girlfriend.
Hold on. I don't think the main character is a sociopath. He's just on track if he continues to listen to that girl.
Yeah.
To Aoi. Or Hanami, whichever one.
I mean, he at the very least understands what he's doing wrong with lying and did want to make it better. He's now been encouraged to not make it better, but
Yep.
still. That's also going to end horribly. He got so fucking lucky that she decided to make a reference to the book that he was reading. I mean, she probably made a reference
Yeah,
to it
because
because it
he
was
was reading
open
it.
on that page, but like still, he got so fucking lucky there. If she makes another allusion to that author, he is fucked.
At the very least, he had like the social awareness to understand. Maybe I should, if I look at this book, I can fake my way into this.
Right.
I wonder if that like author is a real author. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's supposed to be, I think, a Western author because they said like that their books are being translated.
Ah, okay. Maybe.
Ugh.
We could probably look up the phrase that they threw at each other because if it's a secret handshake
Yeah.
type phrase, it's probably like directly translated.
Right.
Um,
Okay, so overall, like,
yeah,
your vision of it was like shaky. It's kind
it
of
was shaky
mellowed
at
out.
first, and yeah, it's kind of mellowed out. I'm feeling better about the show. We will see as the show continues if I continue to feel better about it because, like I said, it's very much like my opinion of it will continue to be based on like
The
how much I'm
actions.
feeling like it's a show that like is actually accomplishing what it claims to be accomplishing of like trying to show this kid like how to have a more fulfilled life and like not be such like a loner,
Yeah.
no friends sort of person.
How to be more social, basically, is like what he's trying to learn.
Yes, I mean that is basically what he's learning.
Yeah.
With
Which,
smile,
to be fair, like
sit up
pieces
straight,
of yeah.
dress in a way that makes people want to talk to you. Like these are all recommendations that are both basic but also very clearly are things that some people have do have
Oftentimes ignored.
problems with. Yeah.
Like one easy thing you can do to fix your face is to find the right haircut that works for you. Just go up to a hairdresser and say, "Hey, pick a haircut." And if it doesn't work, just grow it out and try again. You might laugh, but that's usually a decent hairdressers like know like what tend to know, like they're hairdressers. They tend to know like what hair looks good on people.
Mhm.
And then, well, so oftentimes we'll like pick nice haircuts for you,
I don't know
or,
when the
or
last
even
time I
like
changed my hairstyle. I've had this hairstyle for probably like a decade now. I've worn my hair the same way.
for me, I just kind of like grow out my hair now, mostly because my cousins are like, "It makes you look older." I'm like, all right, well, I guess we'll go with this.
See, like
Um,
I have this thing with my hair where like it's very influenced by like the humidity or something. I don't know exactly what
oh,
it
it
is.
get curls up.
It curls up when
Yeah.
it gets like really long. So I started keeping it more short now, and like I've always wear my hair like pushed back away from my head and like shorter on like the sides and on the top. So like it's always just been that same style. Like I go into the barber and I just tell them the same haircut that I've had for a decade now. They know me because it's a very small barber shop and I'm like the only white guy that shows up there. So when I show up, they're like, "Oh, the white kid. We know what you want. Sit down. We give you a haircut." I'm like, "Awesome, perfect. Do it up, doc. I'm gonna go
Right.
the fuck to sleep."
If I were to give any also other piece of advice, it would be look at what metrosexuals did 10 years ago and just copy them.
Fairly
Like just
accurate.
just work on yourself. Like cut your fucking fingernails. Make sure your hair's not greasy. Bathe.
Bathe.
Doesn't make you gay. Just like be clean. Jesus Christ.
Accurate. I'm surprised that in terms of like talking to other people, she did sort of say it at one point, but I'm surprised that she hasn't made more of an emphasis on like when you're talking to somebody, just be interested in what they're talking about.
Oh yeah, that too.
Like the number of conversations I've had where like, yeah, I don't know anything about riding a horse, but like I've talked to lots of people about riding horses and like just be interested in it. Horses are
Nick
kind
has
of
a thing for
interesting.
horse
We'll
girls.
have a conversation about it. I don't have a thing for horse girls. Calm down.
Yes, you do.
Shut up. I'm gonna plead the fifth on this one. I will not answer that question.
Okay, well, I will mention my joke much later on because it touches on personal issues. Um,
Fair.
Nick already knows where I'm going with it.
Probably.
But anyways, we will continue to watch the show because we don't want to deal with the existential, not existential dread, but like the emotions that Wonder Egg is going to impose on us. So
Yeah.
we'll watch this instead, which isn't as sad, not as happy as Affinity.
Right.
But at the very least, I don't feel like I want to slit my wrists after this.
Yeah. And is overall the 3 episodes considered together, it's been a pretty solid show. I think
So-
it could do. I think it could continue to be good. I don't think it's not one of those where like we're standing on the edge of something where I'm like it could be good, but will probably be shit. I think it's more likely than not that it'll continue to be a good show.
Probably continue to be good, or at the very least, okay.
Hmm.
Not like something to write home about, but like not something to hate.
Right.
Something to write home about is our next show, Doctor Stone season 2. We watched Doctor Stone season 1, all of it on ABC.
Yep.
We'll do the same thing with season 2 because this show is fucking great.
Yep. I think the season is only like 13 episodes. 'Cause
Oh,
just the
oh,
Stone Wars.
Oh, that makes sense. That kind of sucks.
I
But
believe that is true.
okay, actually, I am on any chart. Let me fact check this. I am.
I remember seeing something that was like, it's not 20 plus episodes. So maybe it's like 18 or something like that. But
11.
I think I remember it being like only 12 or 13 episodes long.
It's 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe there will be a season next season that just will have a different name because this is just the Stone Wars. So they'll have like
Oh,
Doctor
it's possible.
Stone, other stuff next
Doctor
season.
Stone. Doctor Stone. Return of the Jedi.
But yeah, so this is just the Stone Wars, and it pretty
This
much
is
it picks
this-
up basically where we left off with
Yeah.
it's winter and we are preparing to go to war.
That is correct, Nick. First off, our magical magician gives us
Yeah.
a quick rundown of what happened last season, wherein.
Yeah, in case you forgot anything about like
Tsukasa.
what all happened,
Yeah.
we talk about how fuck, what's his name? Senku. How Senku
Senku?
woke up. Well, no, I'm talking about our main character.
Yeah, Senku.
The rundown given by Gen, that's our magical magician.
Yep.
Was how Senku woke up, and then how not Tsukasa. Fuck, what was the Yelly kid's name?
Oh shit! We just heard his name. God damn it!
Yeah, I don't remember what it was.
He's voiced by Eight
Yelly
Man.
asshole. How
Kaiju.
he woke up, or how he got woken up. What was it?
Taiju.
Taiju. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, how Taiju we got woken up, how they work together to like establish a primitive society and start to create the revival fluid. How they then revived in the worst decision of all times. The third person they revived is Tsukasa,
Tsukasa
great fighter, weird fucking Nazi also.
doesn't
Um,
like old people because they broke his shell necklace for his sister.
yeah,
That's
and so
kind of
he's
like the
decided
meme
that's
answer,
basically what it
but
is.
kind of. Like, a part of it is that like he says they're greedy.
Yeah,
Um,
and they destroyed everything in the old world and took everything
yeah.
for themselves and didn't give anybody to like those who were really in need and stuff like that. All,
What he's describing
valid
isn't old people. He's
complaints.
describing as capitalists, but that's beside the
Yeah.
point. This isn't a political podcast.
Um, right. But so he decides instead, I'm just going to revive what he said in a phrase that I didn't catch on the last season, as we complained about his mentality or his logic a lot last season. We completely neglected the way that he phrased it, which was he was going to revive the pure-hearted youth.
Yes.
Motherfucker, none of those dudes he revived could be described as pure-hearted or youthful.
I
You
mean,
revive some
the
like,
gymnast is like youthful.
okay,
I
yes,
don't know if she's pure
I
hearted.
think our cast of Tsukasa lieutenants are all going to be like kind of young looking people.
Yeah. But like the
But other than
fucking
them, I'm talking about like the random
massive
goons that showed
motherfuckers.
up. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are some like mid-20s fucking just degenerate weirdos.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in that is basically the sum total of our setup. Tsukasa basically, yeah, is a Nazi. There's a fundamental difference between him and Senku, but he
Yeah.
still respects Senku. He respects him so much he kills him, and then Senku goes off and becomes leader of this village.
Yep.
And now we are going to war.
Senku wants to use science to prop people up and prop humanity once again to the height that it was.
Yep.
Tsukasa wants to return to monkey,
Yeah, basically.
and there you have
But
it.
only with
That's
kids.
said. Oh,
Only with the
God.
pure-hearted youth to create a paradise for the young,
Yeah.
and where
There's an
everybody
in
will
group
be
and there's an
equal.
out group.
Basically, he's creating Animal Farm. That is basically
kind
what
of.
Tsukasa is creating. Everybody's going to be equal, but some people are going to be more equal than others.
Everyone dies when they turn 18.
Yeah,
You're
or
gone.
that.
Except for me.
Except for me
Mysteriously. Yeah, except for me. I don't, because, I need to keep going.
and the girls that I'm interested in.
Oh, God, no. Alright, let's not get into this. First episode, we need to make some ramen so that we can freeze it and make cup ramen. 'Cause we
Right,
need to
that's
have
what it
really light.
was.
Yeah, we need very light package. Because
We
we're
need
making
portable
a trek.
food because we're going
Portable food.
on
There you go.
we're going to war, and we're going to war at a distance because we have to go on the march. So we need to be able to move our food with our supply train and not have it weigh like 1 billion pounds. We don't have cars. We will at some point invent a tank apparently, but we'll get to that when that shows up.
Yeah,
Um,
interesting. It seems like the
But
Flintstones.
for now, yeah, we need to create a light portable food. And so we decided to create cup ramen. And we're going to do this by, they say freeze drying it, which they are, but they're technically flash freezing it is the more interesting part scientifically is what they're doing. Because if you don't know the science behind why flash freezing works in terms of the freeze drying, it has to do with the freezing process and the way that it impacts cells. Because in ramen, it's plant cells, right? Because they're making it from
Right.
the weird like green grain that they have
I mean,
there
it's
in the
always going to
village.
be plant cells.
Yeah, I mean,
Which
yeah,
is
it's always
wild.
going to be plant cells.
Yeah.
And so in any living cell, you have the cell wall that encapsulates basically just water. It's just all water on the inside. And so
Right,
when
and
you
if-
freeze it, you freeze that water. And the
And
problem is
expands.
actually, it'll break the cell wall. And so when you reheat it, if the cell wall is burst, it actually makes the food taste like really rubbery and gross. So if you ever like, if you ever take something out of your freezer, let it, defrost, and then put it back in your freezer, and then defrost it again, it'll always taste a little worse. And the more times you do that, the worse and worse it'll taste. If you ever notice that. That's why if you take something out of your freezer, it's pretty much always encouraged that you cook it that day. And you don't put it back in your freezer because you're just making it worse. You're bursting the cell wall and you're making the food taste less good every time you do that. The thing with flash freezing is it freezes the water so quickly and it freezes all of the cells at the same time that they actually can't expand. And so it preserves the cell wall in all of those cells. And so that's why when you when you fuck, I can't think of the
Defy
word.
it when you
Defrost.
defrost.
When you
Okay.
defrost flash frozen food, it actually preserves the taste really well. It's because all of the cell walls in the food will be preserved, and so it'll still taste exactly the same or almost nearly the same way it tasted when you froze it. So that's an interesting little thing about
I don't think
why
they
or
flash
how
froze it
flash
though.
what
I don't think they flash froze it because they just put it in the
I think
igloo.
they did because they brought it out to that igloo and they like buried it into the fucking snow. I mean that place
But
looked cold as fuck.
I don't know if that would flash freeze it though.
It doesn't have to be like super, it doesn't have to be like minus 80 Celsius to flash freeze it. Like that was
Oh,
probably
really?
minus 10, minus 20.
Oh, okay. I just
It's
thought
probably
like
like
it had to
minus
happen
10, 15. It doesn't have to be
when I
super cold.
when I think flash freezing. I think like basically instantly.
I mean, it's
Is
not
that
like, yeah, it doesn't have to be an instantaneous, like, you shock it with cold and it instantly freezes. It can be, and it was back when it was conceived of. It was done in, I think it was the first person who came up with flash freezing fish thought of it when they were in like Alaska or something like that. So like,
Oh,
I mean, that's
okay.
cold, but it's not like, minus 80. That's like minus 18, I think, in the winter,
Okay.
which seemed to be based on like the igloo and sort of like the,
Right.
general impression of the thing, like roughly around the temperature we were at, I assume. So that is the interesting thing about their flash freezing thing is they were actually, they didn't go into the flash freezing part of the freeze dry process, which is the more scientifically interesting part, in my opinion. But that is a little bit of food science for the day as to how that works and why that works. But
and
then
then
they do explain the other
extract-
side of it, which is
Yeah.
you dry it
Extract the
out
water.
so you can get rid of all the water, and then it packs in really really light. So you re-add the water, it rehydrates the cells, and everything's good to go. It tastes exactly the same, and you got a light food source so you can transport it on the go for your war.
Yes, water is very heavy.
Yes, and it's better to get it at the source of wherever you're going. I forget what else they create. I feel like they create like one or two other things while we're hanging around in the first episode.
In the first episode, I don't believe so.
Do we not?
I think it
Okay.
might create some other thing, but it's very tiny.
Yeah, we do like one or two like smallish invent. Feel like I thought we did freeze drying and like something else small, but maybe I'm wrong.
Was it
Oh.
the bladder things?
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Explosions?
Yeah, because we create sonic bombs because when we decide that we need to pack up our phone or well that's kind of what I might be thinking of was we decide as part of our war effort what we're gonna do is we're gonna send off our one cell phone off to Taiju and Yuzuriha, his girlfriend, so they can play the record that we found and basically show people like, hey, this person from America is still alive. America is still doing good. Like American people have all revived themselves. They've reestablished America. America's great. We're coming to pick you guys up.
See, it's kind of dumb in my opinion. Just
It's
lying to
kinda
them about that.
Yeah.
Because like, I feel like what they should say is, hey, we have a fucking record player. What the fuck do you bitches have?
Yeah.
Like, we've
I
got
mean,
ramen.
they're about to roll up with katanas.
Yeah. Like, we've got fucking iron. You guys still using fucking rocks and shit. Like,
Yeah.
do you want warm beds or do you want to sleep on a rock like a monkey? I don't know, bro. That would immediately.
I do kind of feel like, yeah, in terms of the psyops of this show, playing the record from your time to the people who all recognize her voice and be like, America's still a thing. Come join our side so you get picked up by the Americans. Like, that's kind of an okay thing. Selling people on like, hey, we've got warm ramen and cola and good beds and indoor heating. You wanna be part of us, or do you wanna continue to live in a cave like a monkey? Like, I really feel like the indoor heating. I'd be like, I'm down. I'm in. Fuck this like child paradise. I'm going to
Right.
the indoor heating. Fuck you guys.
Because they have that and they don't have to lie about it. But
Yeah,
they don't.
and
But
penicillin. They
Americans
also have
aren't
penicillin.
alive.
Let's
Oh
not
yeah,
forget
they have fucking antibiotics.
Yeah, we're living in a time where like we're living outdoors and like that was so fucking bad. Like penicillin.
Do you want
Indoor heating and
dysentery?
penicillin. I'm in.
you wanna
I
shit
am
your brains out?
sold. Yeah. That should be a thing. We should like in terms of the psyops, like that should be the other thing is chemical warfare. I think we talked about this. The chemical warfare that
Oh,
is
no.
give them dysentery. Shit
Oh my
upstream
God, we
of
did.
Costa's place and give them dysentery. I think we did talk about this. It would work. It just would work.
Yeah. It'd be highly unethical, but it'd work.
It would, yeah, it would be highly unethical, but it would work. Um,
As they're going to drop off the phone, they are being chased by pink-haired girl who's a gymnast. And I forget her
yeah,
name.
she has one, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Don't
she has
remember
one.
it. They say it a lot. Definitely didn't remember it.
Yep. Um,
Um, but
but the
yeah,
reason they have
she's
the
a
sonic
gymnast.
bombs.
She's got some sick dodging skills.
Yep.
There's a moment where Kohaku's like, "If you give me the word, Senku, I'll kill her." And Senku just looks at her. He's like, "Have you ever killed a person before?" And she's like, "No." And when I probably go to do it, I'll probably hesitate, so I probably won't be able to do it anyways. But still, I'd do it if you asked. Um. So instead, Senku's just like, "Nah, fuck that. We're gonna capture her alive." They do have a moment where they're chasing around the village because basically they want to create an opening for the three Gen. Fuck, I don't remember anybody's name. I remember Magma, Gen, Magma, and other science bitch
Chrome.
whose name I've forgotten. Chrome, thank you.
Jorge's favorite character.
Okay, it is? Okay.
Yeah. Look at his
They
fucking
send them off with a
picture.
phone, and they need to create a distraction for him. So they basically just have pink-haired gymnast go on like a little run around with Kohaku for a little while, and it ends with Senku throwing up a little flashbang as you get to learn about magnesium, a super bright strip of metal.
Also
Uh,
fucking hot.
Also fucking hot, yeah. But yeah, so he creates a little flashbang. It doesn't super work, unfortunately.
Is it a
Uh,
flashbang or more of a flare? A flash isn't like a because there's no
Well,
bang in the
yeah,
flash.
yeah, it is more of a flare. They
It's
call it a
missing the bang.
flare. It is not quite as like bright flash and loud bang as a flashbang, um, but it
It still
accomplishes the
stuns
same
them.
effect of it. Yeah, because it blinds her and drops her out of the tree. But yeah, so the crux of the second episode is, like Brandon said, we engage in this like
Tom and Jerry esque.
three-pronged pursuit essentially,
Oh
where
yeah.
we have our forward team with the phone, pink hair in the middle, and then our rear team of Senku
With the
and
phone.
Kohaka with the other phone. As Gen and Senku start primitive texting each other, aka using Morse code, um, the world's most irritating language, to basically communicate so they can coordinate into creating a little pincer attack onto pink hair. They ultimately do it by creating a little trap where they
They
end up
fake.
giving away like, "Hey, we're definitely using a phone.
Yeah.
Go put this antenna up in the tree, Chrome." And Chrome climbs up there and puts an antenna up in the tree, and pink hair goes up there because she realizes like, "Oh fuck, they've got a cell phone. I need to destroy this right away." Goes up there and goes up into the tree and realizes that it's just a whole bunch of twigs that they put up there to basically trap her. Once she's in the tree, they chop down the tree and she plummets to her death, or would have had it not been for Kohaku catching her at the last minute. And we have now secured a prisoner of war.
Yay.
Yay! In the meantime, we bury a phone for Taiju and Yuzuriha to find at Senku's grave,
Yep.
and
Archer
also
Kid,
get caught.
aka Robin Hood,
Yeah. Mhm.
hears them from a mile away and
Was
runs
pretty
after them.
convinced that kid was going to be blind.
Because there is a blind kid. I'm pretty sure.
There
There's
is a
kid with,
blind
like,
kid. I thought that was going to
the-
be him.
Yeah, the stone over his face.
Uh huh. But instead, we get a guy with eyes who also has really good hearing.
Yeah. he's like Daredevil, but better.
That is accurate. Yes, he is like Daredevil, but better. Yeah. Um. We also get to see like in the opening, which sucks by the way. The opening is so bad.
This opening, I like the song. I think
I fucking hate the song.
I don't remember it.
The Doctor Stone Wars. It's very like jazzy, I think. I don't remember. I remember watching it and just being like the tone of the song and the tone of like what the show is like saying it's about, like Stone Wars. Like the song was much more like upbeat and kind of happy and like a good time kind of song where I'm like, that just does not go along with like Stone Wars. Like
Right.
I want it to be a little bit more like rock and roll and a little less like, brunch jazz. But that aside, we get to see some of what I assume is going to be Tsukasa's lieutenants in their lives back in our time, where we get to see like one of them is
Yeah.
like a high school student looking like a badass. One of them was some sort of like audio technician. That's probably going to come into play with the record.
Oh, that's
Um,
the guy who can hear.
Yeah, this guy who can hear, who can hear. Pretty
I
sure they
mean,
can all
that's what
hear.
he does. That's what he
He
does.
did.
What do you do, guy? I can hear.
I can hear
Okay.
things.
I can hear things very well.
We see a couple other ones. I don't remember any of the jobs that we saw.
We see the gymnast. We see the guy who ran a ship.
Oh yeah, I think so.
right?
Something
I
like
think
that.
that's what he did. Um,
Um,
I don't know what else.
yeah, I think we see one. I think we see a spear guy back in whatever his normal job was. But undoubtedly, we will get introduced to our full cast of Tsukasa Lieutenant, who are all going to be, you know, good fighters, but then overcome by the power of science. Um, it will be interesting that now that we're all on the move, like how much scientific invention Senku is going to be able to do. Because
Well,
a lot
he's
of the
not really
scientific
on the
invention
move.
requires like, the infrastructure that he's been building back at Chrome's
Yeah.
village. And
Well,
like
that's
now
why
that
they
we're
have
all
the
on the move
phone.
and we don't have it, I don't know.
No, because they're not on the. He's not on the move. That's why they have the phone, so they can pass information between him and Taiju.
Well, he did come out to catch pink hair. Do you think they're
Yeah,
going back now?
they're already
They're
back.
going to go. Oh, are they back? Okay.
I think so. Yeah, because they're back because they were in the little hut when they got the first phone call from Taiju.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I wasn't paying attention to where they were. All right. So yeah, maybe Senku will be like a stay-at-home general of like, all right, minions, go off and win the war for me. I'm gonna stay here.
I mean, it's not like you fucking have your general up in the front lines.
I mean, that's true, but it's also like, there's like 50 of them in that village, dude. Granted, Senku is like a fucking beanpole apparently, so he's not gonna contribute a whole bunch, but still,
Nick, he's a flea. I think that was a
that
flea.
is,
I don't know.
it was something. He was, I believe that the pink-haired girl envisioned him as like, it was like two pieces of grain for arms and like some sort of weird like straw man for a body.
It was a bug.
Was it a bug?
I think it was a bug. Yeah, I don't know what bug it was,
Okay.
but it was a bug.
I thought he had like weird like grain arms, but maybe he was a bug.
But
But
that's
yeah,
that's Doctor
so
Stone.
yeah, we only had 2 episodes of Doctor Stone. We've not yet
And
started the war. We've not even seen Tsukasa really.
no,
Uh,
he's just been running around crushing heads and
right,
brushing
right.
the
He was
snow
crushing
off
some
of
heads
little
on the
girls.
beach. I do remember that. And yeah, staring creepily at little girls holding dismembered hands.
Oh, that's sad.
Uh, we also saw that he's created like a priority queue of how
Yeah.
to revive people. And there
And
was a
it
little
seems
like
that
ethical debate with Magma about like should we break them all now so that they can't be
right.
turned into soldiers against us, or should we let them potentially be revived to use against us in the war?
It seemed that Gen maybe knew who that guy was, or like had an imagination of like how that guy lived his life, and that's what made him like stop Magma.
Right.
Because we see him like maybe working at a florist shop, I think.
Yeah,
But we
there
still
was
see
like
like
there
very
was like
quick
a quick
flashbacks.
flash of like
Yeah,
what may have been that guy that was the one Magma was going to destroy, like what he may have been
yeah,
doing.
right. Whether or not that was Gen's imagination or his memory, we don't know.
Or just again like looking at him and using his mentalist thing to be like, he looks like the kind of person that would work at this type of store, and then envisioning him like working
right,
there.
right. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's possible too. But overall, yeah, Doctor Stone, great show, great writing.
Hmm.
The reactions are just as funky as usual.
Yeah, very over
Um,
the top. I forgot how
Incredibly
over the
over
top they
top.
were. When we saw fucking Chrome like explode in the first episode, I was immediately reminded of how just expressive it is out of
Yeah,
nowhere. Uh, Also
and
forgot how weird the girls look. They definitely like do not look normal as compared to the dudes. Kind
I
of
mean,
bugged me the whole time.
oh, with their like eyes, yeah, it doesn't look
Yeah,
a little weird. It does look a little
looks a
weird.
little bizarre. I just want all of
I
our
kind of got
characters
used
to look
to
the
it.
same.
I'll be honest, I kind of got used to it. I didn't really notice it that much. Like, I didn't think that girl looks weird. I guess it.
I probably got used to it like as time went on in the first
Yeah,
Doctor Stone, and I'll probably get used to it again this time. But like, just like the first episode where you see like Senku and Chrome and Kohaku standing there, and Kohaku just looks substantially different than the other two. I'm like, why are they just not? Why don't they just all have like the same looking features?
yeah.
It
But
just
that,
it
that's
just irritated me.
that's the author for you, or the mangaka.
Yeah.
Anyways,
At the
yeah,
very
that's-
least, like Kohaku contributes a lot. Like she's a solid
Oh, yeah.
character.
Oh, it's fucking great.
I can't give him shit for like he just looks down on the female characters or anything like that. They just look different, but like she contributes a bunch. She's a solid character. Like
Our main villain, our villain in these first two episodes was a girl too, who was
right,
competent.
Mhm.
So yeah,
highly skilled. Yeah. So,
so we're gonna see like what happens.
right,
and we're
we're
gonna
gonna
have
build a
some
fucking
fun.
tank.
Yeah, we're gonna build a fucking tank. Um, Any last thoughts?
I don't think so.
All right.
I
What would you
think
like to sell out to?
most of our thoughts are contained within whatever the last season we did Doctor Stone was. So if you're watching this, which God knows why you are, or who you are, because we don't have any viewers, but go watch our old Doctor Stone stuff to see how we felt about it back then, and then watch all of this and follow Doctor Stone with us as you can see how we feel about this arc. Um, but yeah, sell us for today. Um, I think in the theme of horror stuff, I'm gonna sell out to some horror stuff because we talked about the Wonder Egg and the fact that it was horror. So I'm gonna sell out to some proper horror stuff. I'm gonna sell out to Dead Space, the Dead Space franchise, specifically the 1st and the second game, the only two that I've played. Never played the third one. Also heard it was not a great game. But I'll sell to the first two. If you want to play a horror game in which you as the character do actually get to like fight the horror, but it is gory and graphic and does do like fear of the dark. Great, like given the fact that you have a gun and can shoot the enemies, like the way that it still makes you afraid of the dark is phenomenal. I love the health system in the game because the health bar is a glowing like trail of lights going up your spine. So the entire time you're playing the game, you're very aware of exactly how much health you have, and like as you're getting attacked, you're very aware of how much health you're losing. So you don't automatically regain health; you have to find health pickups. And so there are moments where you're looking at your health going like, I know exactly how many attacks I can take, and I am fucked. Like, I know that when I walk into this room, there's going to be necromorphs, and I am fucked. Because I can take one hit. So it does horror in a lot of different ways, and it is a solid fucking game. So Dead Space 1 and Dead Space 2, I fully recommend playing them. Play them in the way that they were designed. I know they have some like DLC that gives you like bonus guns and shit like that. Play them in the way they were designed. Like only use the guns you're supposed to use at the times you're supposed to get them, and they are phenomenal horror games. So Dead Space 1 and Dead Space 2 are my sell for the week. What would you like to sell to, B?
I'm gonna sell it to Metroid Prime because it's also kind of horror because there's some horrifying shit that happens in those games.
All right.
But different style than Dead Space. It's more about exploring an alien world, and you know encounter uh, the weirdness of the world is kind of like the horror part of it. There's moments where like the game is kind of scary, but overall, you know, it's an adventure game as well. And I love Metroid. At least Metroid Prime games. I've played some of the Metroid 2D games, and I like them, but not as much as I love the Metroid Prime games. And I know there's one coming out at some point, and that's all I know.
Someday.
Someday, Metroid Prime 4 will come out, and I will play it on the Switch, and I will be happy.
Okay.
Yeah, Metroid Prime.
Well, there you go.
That's
Those
all.
are our sellouts.
Yep.
We decided to go for horror games, kind of.
Horror video games, yep.
Yeah.
Or, I guess for me, close to horror-ish?
Yeah. World horror. It's hard to say. But
Anyways,
yeah, that's that. We're probably gonna do Doctor Stone, the other two, not
Jack
Wonder
Reacher
Egg.
and Skinfinity, and not Wonder
Skinfinity.
Egg. I will
Not
continue to
Wonder
watch
Egg.
Wonder Egg, though. And it'll
Uh,
break me just like Attack on Titan will break me at some point.
Right. But yeah. If
Have a
you,
good
our
night.
audience, ever exists, just watch those 3 shows and come back next week and listen to us fumble fuck our way through another hour and 10 minutes of discussion. Thanks for not showing up.